Aloha, children of the night, and welcome to the Tiki Goth Club. Today I am in a special place called the Devil's Reef in Tacoma, Washington, which is the official clubhouse for the Tiki Goth Club. Jason is a member of the Tiki Goth Club, and you might be wondering, who got the number 666? Well, it's Jason. So that's who it is.
It's a good number.
Yes, it's a good number for you, so that's why I gave it to you. Obviously, the Devil's Reef here has been, when did it, 2017, 2018?
Something like that. Yeah, I think this is year number 7.
Has it really been 7 years? Oh my God.
I think. Or 8. 7 or 8, something like that.
Yeah, and I remember back at the beginning, you were talking about the inspiration is H.P. Lovecraft and his stories.
Right.
And like the name of the name of the bar, Devil's Reef, is named after Devil Reef, which is in the shadow of Innsmouth.
Right, yeah, well, the Innsmouth townsfolk called it that old Devil Reef.
That old Devil Reef.
So technically there's no apostrophe.
Yeah.
But I wanted to call this place Devil's Reef.
Yeah.
But if you look on the menu, our house signature cocktail is just Devil Reef.
It's just called Devil Reef.
Without the apostrophe, yes.
And then you went on to open up Gilman House.
Right.
And that's kind of up in the Stadium District. And that was based off of the Gilman House, which is the inn that...
Right. So the two pivotal locations in that story, Gilman House Hotel and that old Devil Reef. So,
all this time, I knew that like there was this H.P. Lovecraft connection, but I never went past it much thinking about it. And then actually, you were on the Tiki Time, was it the Tiki Talk Show?
Yeah,
I was actually their first guest that they had.
Nice.
And I was listening to you talking about. Okay, my biggest inspiration for the Devil's Reef was the story The Shadow over Innsmouth. And you were saying how H.P. Lovecraft was a big influence on you and the Devil's Reef. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should actually read these stories. So it took me...
It's easy because they're all short stories. I think The Shadow over Innsmouth is his longest story at 30 pages, but everything else is, some are just a couple.
So I finally read them.
And
I read some H.P. Lovecraft back when I was a teenager in high school, but I don't remember what I read. Shadow over Innsmouth is an incredible story. It's a creepy story.
It is.
And I loved reading it because it was like there's all these Easter eggs that you pulled from. And I want to get into that. So
for sure.
How did you get into H.P. Lovecraft? When did you get into H.P. Lovecraft?
Well, that all came back to Jonathan Chafin just a little bit, and then just before him, Jason Rogers over at Fez-O-Rama, where I wanted to wear a fez behind the bar at the Cabana when we opened that, and that was inspired from Bryce Gennardi of the Kole Maluna Tiki Lounge back in Kona, Hawaii. Oh, wow. Because he had a little skull and crossbone fez. I was like, that's rad. Yeah. My next bar, I'm wearing a fez. Yeah. But I didn't want to do the skull and crossbones like he had. Yeah. And so the next coolest fez I thought was this Cthulhu one, and I had no idea who it was or what it meant. So threw the fez on, and that was that. Until Jonathan Chafin came along and released this mug.
Yeah. So this is a horror and clay mug, and it's Cthulhu, right? Mm-hmm. And it is a killer mug. So was that your introduction to H.P. Lovecraft, kind of?
Yeah, I was like, okay, I got to learn more about this Cthulhu guy, and start reading some stories and figure out who H.P. Lovecraft was, and started listening to the H.P. Podcraft as well.
There's a podcast, H.P. Podcraft.
Yeah, they two guys went back chronologically in order of the way he released his stories, and just dissects them and explains them and breaks them down. So I learned a lot from that without having to spend a lot of time reading too. I mean, I did my homework, but it was also nice to have that podcast to listen to while I was out driving and couldn't read.
So was Call of Cthulhu the first story you read from H.P. Lovecraft?
No. Or it was The Shadow over Innsmouth.
It was The Shadow. Okay.
Well, that was the first one. So.
Okay, cool.
And I was immediately hooked, and I've gone back and read random stories here and there. Right now, I'm slowly working my way through his dream cycle stories. So he's got 2 stories. One's the Cthulhu mythos, and the other one's the dream cycle. Yeah. And there's some interweaving a little bit, but both fascinating but different.
Now, when it comes to what stories are part of the Cthulhu mythos?
Obviously, the Call of Cthulhu.
Yes.
Mountains Over Madness, Shadow over Innsmouth. Anything that basically deals with cosmic horror from beyond.
Yeah.
Is that, and then the dream cycles would be these fascinating trips into dreams and whatnot.
Yeah, I read I read the Beyond. Is it Beyond the Wall of Sleep?
Yeah.
Behind the Wall of Sleep.
Yeah, I haven't read that one yet. So
Yeah. So that was one of those where
I started with Polaris.
I read that one.
And so been working my way down that way.
The crazy thing is back in the 80s, one of my favorite horror movies was The Reanimator. And like now I realize like that's an H.P. Lovecraft story. Let's go through the Shadow over Innsmouth.
Okay.
Like I want to hear I want you to tell me all the different Easter eggs, all the different things that you picked and pulled that you brought into the Devil's Reef here. Because I know there's cocktails, there's and then I want you to talk about the Gilman House too. Sure. And now you have the new Gilman House, which is the room
2.0. Yeah, 2.0 basically.
But it's named after the room that the guy stayed in.
Right. Yeah. The main central character. Why can't I think of his name right now? That was the room he stayed in. Checked into the hotel to spend the night while he was investigating this town and trying to see what was up with it. Robert Olmsted. That was it.
So, and the story is about what's the story about?
It's about the narrator, Robert Olmsted. Wants to go check out this town and takes a bus into it to see what's going on there. He heard some strange stories and wanted to see the museum and the esoteric Order of Dagon and the library, and he starts to see that there's something odd going here, and he misses the last bus out, so he's got to spend the night. So he checks into the Gilman House Hotel, and eventually gets chased out of there. And then I don't want to ruin the story because it's worth a read, but
and I guess the thing is, it's like what do they call mer people?
Deep ones.
Deep ones. Oh, so those are the deep ones.
Yeah, those are the deep ones.
Yeah, and essentially it's like people that are kind of like
Cthulhu's children.
Yeah. Are they Cthulhu?
They're hybrids.
Okay.
So basically, Devil's Reef, the Captain Obed Marsh took 3 ships to the Polynesian Islands. The Sumatra Queen, which is a drink on the menu.
Yes, it is.
The Hetty and the Columbia. And so that was my tie-in. It was like, cool. He took these 3 ships to the Polynesian Islands and brought artifacts back with them. And I was like, I can totally, make this work with the whole tiki escapism, exotic bar aestheticism. So that was my tie-in. I was like, perfect, let's go. This Devil's Reef needs to happen as a bar. But anyway, while Obed Marsh was in the Polynesian Islands, he learned to summon the deep ones from up above the ocean floor, and they wanted, in return for unlimited fish and wealth and gold, they needed sacrifices out on that old Devil Reef where they would come up, get the sacrifice, take it back. And eventually that sacrifice wasn't enough for the townsfolk or for the deep ones. They wanted more from the townsfolk and started breeding with them.
They did.
And eventually the children, I mean the Metallica song, not Call It Cthulhu.
Call It Cthulhu. Well, that's the weird thing. That's the weird thing.
The thing that should not.
The thing that should not be.
Yeah, that's so hybrid children stalk the sea.
Is that what it is? Is that what that song's about?
Absolutely. Go back and read the lyrics after you just read the Shadow.
Shit, I didn't know that. Well, the weird thing is that they have Call It Cthulhu, which is on Ride the Lightning, but it's not spelled Cthulhu.
Right. There's a lot of different spellings. I mean, I think they, you're not even supposed to be able to pronounce the word Cthulhu according to Lovecraft. So
well, the interesting thing about the deep ones, though, how I read it, it was kind of like they're like kind of fishy, half man, half fish, almost kind of like the Gillman from the Creature.
Right. Well, so Jonathan Chafin tells the story pretty well in this mug here. You've got the Innsmouth townsperson, right, and slowly turns into a deep one here, and then returns to the sea as a full blown.
That's what it. And I've looked at like a whole bunch of pictures. Of like people's renditions, and
that's why they call
kind
it
of like that.
That's why they call it the the Innsmouth look. You got the bulging fish eyes and the pale skin.
Yes.
And then eventually the scales in your neck, and eventually you return to the sea.
But Cthulhu is completely different. Because he has the tentacle. It's like almost like an octopus. Now, are they the same?
Well,
are they the same but different? Is it?
Well, Cthulhu is the father of the Deep Ones.
He is the father.
And then his parents are Dagon and Hydra.
Yeah, I read the book Dagon, the short story Dagon. Although it was pretty short though.
Yeah, it's very short.
So there really wasn't much going on.
Some of his stories are pretty short.
You had a drink on your menu called Obed Scrog, right?
Mm-hmm. After Captain Obed.
Yeah. So what are some of the drinks that you had? I know.
Oh man, I might have to look this up.
Now I know you have one of your famous drinks is the Third Oath.
The Third Oath. So there's the oaths.
And there's the oaths in
the oaths of Dagon.
The oaths of Dagon, and supposedly like the Third Oath is. Well,
that's the one. That's the one you don't take.
You don't take
because once you take the Third Oath, there's no going back.
Yeah. And so can we? Are you cool with talking about what that is, or does it?
The Third Oath. Well, that's where you
actually have sex with
the deep ones.
The deep ones
to spawn children.
To spawn
hybrid children.
Hybrid children. Yeah. So it's like, if you're going all in, you're going all in.
You're going all in. There's no going back.
So what were the other oaths? Though?
First oath, second oath, third oath.
No, but what is the first oath? What is the second? I think it's like something like
pledging yourself to the esoteric order of Dagon.
Yeah.
And then I think the second one's the next level, and then the third one is you're all in. You're having sex with fish.
Yeah, you're having sex with fish.
Right.
However that goes.
Well, Guar wrote a song about it.
Guar did?
Well, no, I mean, they have a song called something inappropriate. I don't know if I can say that on your
doesn't
show.
matter.
It's called Fish Fuck.
Fish Fuck? Is that what it is?
I don't think it's not about that.
It'd be awesome if it was, though.
Right. No, but seriously though, Metallica, a lot of songs about H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah.
Not just the Call of Cthulhu, but the thing that should not be.
Yeah.
There's a few tracks on, I think it's Hardwired to Self-Destruct, that are very Lovecraftian.
Are they really? I didn't. Well, okay, it makes complete sense.
Oh yeah. So I mean, well, James Hetfield, he's a big reader, and he writes songs about a lot of stuff he reads. So
let's talk about the Gilman House. So the idea of the Gilman House was essentially, the idea was like, this is the hotel lobby bar of the Gilman House?
Basically,
if there was one?
If there was one.
Yeah.
I don't think there was, but we can fantasize,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, because they don't really go into it. But like, where did you have any drinks that were up at the Gilman House that were HP and Lovecraft's?
Once again,
yeah.
Brains fried. Let me look.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't know why that never happened. I think we were just trying to have a slightly broader appeal to it and wanted it to be a little more neighborhood friendly at the very beginning. Well, I mean, the Shambler at the Threshold, so the deep ones are called. The deep ones
Jason's over here.
Shambler at the Threshold.
There you go.
The deep ones, their walk is described as shambling.
Yeah.
And, they knock at the threshold of the door of room 428. Miskatonic Mistake. The siege on Innsmouth.
Yeah.
At some point the government did a siege on that. But that's about not as much as Devil's Reef, but it's still there.
So it's funny now that a lot of people, they come here and they'll be like, oh, this is like a nautical bar. Some people even say like a pirate bar.
Well, I mean, I let everybody have whatever experience they want to have when they walk in the door. Whether it's the full-on tiki Hawaiian deal, they want to do goth club stuff, pirates. Some people just come in because they just want to escape the outside and not see the outside world for a little while.
But it's actually an H.P. Lovecraft bar.
Yeah.
More than, actually,
to me it is absolutely.
But now that everything's in place, it's just sort of like, because I think there are H.P. Lovecraft themed bars. Like, I think there used to be one down in Portland.
Yeah.
I think it was called Lovecraft, actually.
Yeah, it was called Lovecraft. I never went. From what I understand, it was more of like a nightclub.
Yeah, it wasn't. They weren't really going into detail. But so now that I think about it, it's like, is the Devil's? So I'm going to take out this interview with the question is like, is the Devil's Reef a tiki bar?
Well, like I
maybe said, it's an H.P. Lovecraft bar.
Well, like I said, my tie-in was the character Captain Obed Marsh taking his 3 ships to the Polynesian Islands and bringing artifacts back to Innsmouth.
Yeah.
Imagine some of those artifacts might have been fish floats or idols or stuff like that.
No.
Flotsam and Jetsam.
So if someone was going to get into H.P. Lovecraft, what stories would you recommend them to read? We're right about Shadow over Innsmouth.
Right, obviously that's my favorite.
Yeah. It's my favorite out of the ones I've read so far, too.
I mean, that one, obviously the Call of Cthulhu,
Yeah.
Mountains of Madness, Dunwich Horror,
Yeah.
The Color Out of Space, which is also a movie with Nick Cage that's done really well.
Nice.
So, and like I said, I just started in on the Dream Cycle stories, and I really like those a lot.
Yeah.
So, short but very interesting, and makes you think.
See, I'll tell you what. Thank you, Jason, for having your bar, because it's making me smarter. Because it's encouraging me to read. Have you had many people come in and be like, "Dude, I'm an H.P. Lovecraft fan"?
Every now and then, some people get it when they sit down and actually read the menu, and they're like, "Oh, wait a minute, I get this now."
Yeah.
So dead but dreaming. Cthulhu lies dead but dreaming. So that was a good name.
The thing I keep on talking about is how Tiki is evolving, where it's starting to combine different subcultures together.
Right.
You know, where you're not necessarily, it's not, full on Tiki, but now it's like, these different elements.
Yeah.
And the thing is like you've been doing this combination now for like a long time.
Yeah, well, for like what, seven-ish years now.
So you're ahead of the curve.
Just a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, it's all at its roots. It's escapism.
Yeah.
And then however you want to tell that tale of escapism is A-okay by me.
Yeah. You tell the tale of escapism through rum.
Right.
Rum and short stories. The Tiki Goth Club is way more than just this YouTube program. It's also a club that you can join. For $15, you can become a member of the Tiki Goth Club. You get your own membership card with your own number. I'll send you a couple stickers and a pin. I also have shirts for sale, patches, and glasses. If you're interested in any of this, head over to my website, tikigothclub.com, and everything's there for you. The Tiki Goth Club now has an official fanzine. It's called the Tiki Nomicon. It's chock filled with articles written by actual Tiki Goth Club members, articles written by myself. It talks about news, things that are going on in the Tiki Goth Club, and it can be all yours for $5, plus $5 in shipping and handling. Head over to tikigothclub.com to get your copy today.